Hey guys, what's up? It's Danielle. So welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to exclusively talk about updates, and I don't feel bad whatsoever about, sorry, I'm adjusting my camera. Okay, there we go. I don't feel bad whatsoever talking about any of this because, first of all, I am ready for change, and it needs to come from my personal life rather than my professional life, if that makes sense. So we're going to get into all the things. So to kind of give you guys like a quick rundown, we're going to talk about mental health, we're going to talk about school, and we're going to talk about work. And I don't know, maybe some other stuff peppered in. We'll find out. I don't know. We'll kind of see where the video takes us. But I am going to try to do this as succinctly as possible so that this isn't taking like a million years. So first things first, I have decided that I kind of want to go back to where I used to be. And I guess you can say that, means a lot of different things, but I feel like I used to take way better care of myself. And I mean that in every sense of the word. Like, I was working out, I was eating better, I was actually like doing my nails on a regular basis. And over time, all of that just kind of fell to the wayside. And a lot of that is because I was in survival mode for so long. So I have managed to pull myself out of survival mode for the most part. And in taking the advice of my therapist, who basically told me that I need to make my life as easy as possible, like where I can, I honestly, oh man, I've honestly been trying to do that. Now, it's kind of like a weird thing for me to say, I feel like, because I don't know how many people can relate to this. So I found a perfect explanation on TikTok, and essentially like this girl put into words what I found so difficult. So for the longest time, I've had to be independent, which is fine because ultimately that's what I wanted. Like growing up, that's what I wanted as a kid. That's like what I was trained for, I guess you could say, was to be independent and to really just rely on myself. Well, it's not very easy. I mean, in any way, shape, or form. And I mean, anybody can say that. Like, so that being said, I really have been reevaluating what it is that I want to do and how I want to approach things. And I feel like where I want to start is with, this is going to come out the wrong way, but I'll elaborate in a second, with being more girly. So first things first, I have been doing my nails. These are actually gel, and I just got like a gel kit off of Amazon, and I've been doing it myself. And this has lasted almost 2 weeks at this point. So honestly, not bad for DIY. I've also been painting my toes, or my piggies as I call them. Just small little victories like that. And I know to some people it might seem like that's like an everyday, all the time thing. But somebody who's been burnt out for so long, like me, like that's a massive feat. Another thing is I gave myself bangs, and you can't really tell what it looks like right now, but basically they're kind of layered a little bit. I have not gone to hair school. I wanted to, but yeah, never been to hair school. So I just basically, that and like doing my blonde is just stuff I've picked up over the years, but excuse me. Anyways, I'm also on the hunt for like more girly clothing. I tend to wear the same things all the time just because it's easy. And I want to get back into like feeling cute and not feeling like I'm just kind of on autopilot all the time. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of this has to do with self-esteem. So it's like I've been able to kind of find my rhythm a little bit more. And I will be perfectly honest. I have been thinking about what I want for my life. And one of the biggest things that I've always said is that I want work-life balance. Now, I personally cannot stand my job. It's just, there's a lot to it that I'm not a fan of. And I mean, anybody could say that, but my old boss ended up quitting, so got rid of one problem. But now it's kind of changed because they're really like buckling down on everything. And I don't do well with that sort of thing. So I'm not trying to say like I need to do whatever I want, but if I'm being micromanaged, I'm like, that's a problem. So yeah, the hunt is still on. I have been enjoying third shift, so I will say that. I think there's pros and cons to it. Definite pro is that I don't have to deal with as many people. And it's not to say that I don't get along with people. It's just if I have seen your true colors and I've determined I don't like you, I really can't do anything about that. Like, there's no way to reverse that, at least for me. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I've mentioned this before, but yes, I did apply to school and I'm trying to become an ultrasound tech. Now, the problem with this plan is that it's going to take me a long ass time because not only am I working while I'm doing this, but I'm only going to be able to take like one class, maybe two at a time. And I feel like with, excuse me, my undergrad, I rushed everything. You know, the goal was like to just get the hell out of there and to just get a job and do everything that I had been conditioned my entire life to do. And now that I've been out of school since for 8 years now, I feel like I can take my time and I can really just kind of see where I'm going with everything. And to be perfectly honest, the way that I landed on ultrasound tech is I follow this guy on TikTok and his wife does, she's an ultrasound tech. So I was like, oh, really? So I started looking into it more, and it turns out that the community college, like literally a couple minutes from my house, has a program for it. And I was like, I can do this. I can do this. So I feel like knowing everything that I know now, having the experiences that I've had over the last, 7 years that I've been on my own, I feel like that's really helped me a lot, not only in knowing who I am, but also, being able to make this decision. And not only that, but I have noticed that my ADHD, I feel like, has gotten a little bit worse. My brother saw firsthand how bad it was when I saw him at Christmas time last year. And he was like, my God, you're worse than I am. And he's like, I'm not even medicated. I mean, it's different for everybody, but at the same time, it's like, the dude has a point. So I don't know. It's just interesting. And then another new kind of, actually, I'm going to go back to the school thing first. So as far as school is concerned, I just retook my math placement test and I got one spot above where I was at the first time I took it. So I've always been bad at like taking tests and stuff like that because I get really nervous, especially if I'm not used to the environment. I don't know like what's going on. And I 100% was not prepared. I didn't study the right things. keep in mind, it's also been like 10 years almost since I've done like the kind of math that I'm required to learn. So it's been a while. Some things it's like that. Other things I'm just like, ugh. So it depends. I really do wish that I would have kept my graphing calculator from high school because that would have been a really big help. But I did keep the calculator that I've had since 4th grade because that does fractions. It does mixed numbers. It converts them from decimals to fractions and back. And I'm dead serious. I have not, like, I owe literally my entire livelihood to that calculator because I've had it since 4th grade and it took me all the way through college. And now it's taking me back to college. So props to you. Props to you. Texas Instruments, like 100%. So anyways, that's the first thing. So we'll see what happens as far as what class I'm taking. I do not want to take an accelerated math class because if I'm already having like these kinds of issues to begin with, like I just want to pump the brakes. And again, the beauty of being able to, kind of go back to school and be working at the same time is that I can pump the brakes. Unfortunately, I can't go any faster, but that's okay because the point is to just, actually like make it and not just survive like I did the first time. So I'm going to move on to mental health now. So like I mentioned before, I have kind of been pulling myself out of survival mode, and it's been interesting, like, because I've been going back to certain things that I was doing, like relying on protein powder, but I've also been doing other things that I haven't done before, like just taking a bagged salad, throwing it in my lunch bag and calling it a day. There's nothing wrong with that. At least I'm getting some veggies. At least I'm getting some fiber. But, just the desire is there, which I think is good. And my clothing is fitting a little bit more loosely, so I'm happy about that. I made the conscious decision not to go and log my foods because, first of all, I can't do it anymore. Like, I find that a lot of the disordered eating habits that I had when I had my eating disorders, I cannot go back to it, which is great. But I mean, it's like anytime I try something like that now, it's like I try it for like one day and I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I guess in hindsight, it's a good thing. But anyways, moving on from that. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but you can actually self-diagnose autism if you take the RADS-R test. Now, my brother has speculated for years that I was on the spectrum somehow. And the argument that I always made is that ADHD and autism have a lot of similarities. Like, there's a lot of things that cross over. And that's totally true. Like, you can ask a psychiatrist or a therapist that and they'll tell you that. But I never was like, bro, like I have this, like for sure I have this. So I've taken the RADS-R probably like 4 or 5 times in the last couple of months. And I'm not going to share what my score is, but your girl definitely has autism. And it's kind of funny because I shared this with my therapist and she was like, I don't think you have it. Like, just talking to you and everything, like, I don't think, I'm like, I haven't told you like the whole story, girl. So it's kind of funny because it's like a joke that my brother and I have where it's like, I'll talk about stuff from my childhood and I'll be like, yeah, this is probably autism. And he'll be like, yeah, it definitely is. So I don't know. It's like a weird way that we're bonding, but it's not anything bad, you know, I'm not like ashamed of it. It's just another piece of the puzzle that I've been calling it the onion. You know, you just keep peeling back the layers and you just keep finding more stuff and you're like, okay, like that's enough layers, bro. Like, can we pump the brakes? But I mean, honestly, like it doesn't change who I am. It just changes my perception of myself a little bit because now I'm going back and I'm like second thinking. I can't talk. I got like an hour of sleep. Now I'm going back and I'm like rethinking everything. And I'm like, yeah, the math be mathing, yo. So I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. And I don't know. It's just, I find it fascinating. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to update you guys on is that I have been in a rut. Like, you guys know that. I've been in a rut for so long, just been in survival mode. And part of me, like, taking care of myself is also taking care of my house. But also, I want to do it in a way that I'm not, like, super rigid about things. And I'm still able to, like, function and do stuff. But also, if I need, like, a day, like, I can take a day. You know what I mean? So I finally bought Casey Davis's book. I actually have it on Audible. And if you're interested, it's called How to Keep House While Drowning. And honestly, perfect. Like, absolutely perfect. So she recommends, like, kind of what my therapist said, like making your life easier. And, you know, there's examples like keep paper plates in your cupboard so that if you're depressed or, you know, you have a chronic illness or some other thing, you know, you still have something to eat off of, but you don't have the added chore of doing the dishes. And part of that for me is really trying to understand that, you know, I'm not lazy like I've been told and like I've told myself over the years. It's literally not that I'm lazy. It's just that I have executive dysfunction and it is significantly harder for me to do things than it is for people who are not neurodivergent. So anyways, it's been a really great book. And I have listened to it probably like 2 or 3 times now just because I'm like, it feels so encouraging and so nice. So a lot of good things happening. I mean, I've shared the whole, you know, cash stuff with you guys. I've been saving more money. And I just feel like overall I'm doing much better. Now, the traumatized portion of my brain is like, this is not going to last. And the reason why I say that is because although my hours at work have been better in the last couple of months, I know how quickly that can turn to shit again. And I've been trying literally since October to find another job. And, excuse me, I've either gotten passed up for things because even though I had the experience, I, you know, have never dealt with the industry, or, you know, I have the experience, but they're like, oh, well, we want to go in a different direction. So basically, like, I've been grilled more than enough times at this point because I'm what people like to call a job hopper. But guess what? It's very common for people in my generation to do that. And not only that, like, you literally cannot make money. You cannot make more money if you stay in one place. Like, no, that's not how that works. I'm not going to stay in a place and get 3% every single year when I could literally go down the street and I can get like 10, 15, 20 grand more. Like, that's just common sense. So I will not hear anybody talk shit about that because it has gotten me this far in life. And not only that, I've been escaping a lot of shitty situations. So say what you will, but I might be paying the price now, but I think that's okay because the one of the last interviews that I went on, I got grilled by somebody who worked at that company for like 25 years or some shit like that. And she was like, "You're a job hopper." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You're looking at my resume. Like, why are you telling me this? I know this. Like, I'm not shying away from that." Excuse me. So literally that put such a bad taste in my mouth that was the catalyst for me applying to school. And, you know, one thing leads to another, which leads to another. So I'm honestly not mad. I'm a little bit mad, but not a lot. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Honestly, I just wanted to talk. Like, I just wanted to share all the good things because I feel like for so long I was so freaking depressed and frustrated, and I just felt like I couldn't get anywhere. And now I feel like I'm actually getting a grasp on things, and I feel better all around, and I think it's showing. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll talk to you on my next video. Bye, guys.